The final Prezi in the writing process series will focus on proofreading. This Prezi will cover strategies to proofread, checklists for spelling, punctuation, and sentence structure, plus a final proofreading checklist. Even if you are pressed for time or tired of writing your paper, it is important that you do not skip proofreading your paper. Give your paper that final polish to develop clarity and create a persuasive argument. Be sure to read the paper several times to spot and correct errors. Try these strategies to begin proofreading. Allow at least one day between the editing and proofreading stages. Use the proofreading checklists, which will be discussed below, to remind you of potential problems. Prepare a checklist for your own common errors. Read your paper aloud either to yourself or to a friend, but be aware of MacEwan University's academic integrity policy and the acceptable forms of collaboration. Place a ruler under each line of your paper as you read it. Read your paper backwards, sentence by sentence. This is useful for finding sentence fragments and spelling errors. Check the form of your document, including the title page, quotations, and references, before you print the final copy. Before we explore these checklists, please note that Writing and Learning Services has created in-depth Prezis on grammar and mechanics rules. It would be valuable for you to check them out and to use them in conjunction with the following slides. Let's begin with the spelling and punctuation checklist. Spelling. Inspect every word individually to make sure it is spelled correctly and in Canadian spelling. If necessary, consult both a dictionary and thesaurus to ensure the spelling and meaning are correct. Compound sentence commas. Scan the paper for conjunctions. The acronym FANBOYS is a useful way to remember the conjunctions for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Check whether there is a complete sentence on either side of the conjunction. If so, a comma is needed before the coordinating conjunction. Introductory commas. Scan the paper by looking at the first 3 words of each sentence. Stop if one of these words is a dependent marker, a transition word, a participle, or a preposition. Listen for a possible break before the main clause. Place a comma at the end of the introductory phrase or clause, which is before the independent clause. Comma splices. Scan the paper and stop at each comma. If there is a complete sentence on each side of the comma, then either a coordinating conjunction should be added after the comma, or the comma should be replaced by a semicolon. The sentence may also be split into 2 separate sentences. Now, let's take a look at the sentence structure checklist. Run-on sentences. Identify sentences that consist of more than one independent clause. If the independent clauses are not separated by punctuation or joined with a coordinating conjunction, then there are ways to repair the run-on sentence. Break the sentence into 2 individual sentences, divide the 2 independent clauses with a semicolon, or divide the independent clauses with a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Sentence fragments. Scan the paper and locate sentences that do not form a complete thought. For example, because communication procedures broke down. If a sentence consists of only a dependent clause, like the one above, then it is a sentence fragment. It needs to be changed into an independent clause, such as communication procedures broke down, or connected to one to form a complete sentence, such as because communication procedures broke down, emergency workers were unable to respond as quickly as needed. Subject-Verb Agreement. Locate the main verb in each sentence. Match the verb to its subject. Make sure that the subject and the verb agree in number, singular or plural. Verb tense shift. Locate the verbs in each sentence. Make sure the tenses of verbs are consistent. Avoid shifts from the past to the present. Pronoun reference or agreement. Scan the paper and examine each pronoun. Look out for words like its, this, their, they, his, and her. Locate the noun that the pronoun replaces. If a noun cannot be found, then it needs to be added before the pronoun is included in the sentence. The pronoun can also be replaced with a noun. If a noun is located, then it must agree with a pronoun in both number and gender. parallel structure. Scan the paper and stop at sentences that use the same pattern of words to show that two or more ideas have the same level of importance. For example, the environmental disaster was caused by a communication breakdown, faulty procedures, and weather disruptions. Note that the objects in the list, such as adjectives followed by nouns in this case, are in parallel grammatical form. Remember, keep calm and proofread. Do not rely on a spell checker to catch your mistakes. Let's look at the final proofreading checklist. Accurate citations. Have all of the quotations and paraphrases been appropriately cited? Has the required citation format been followed? For example, APA, ASA, MLA, or Chicago. Academic language. Are there any contractions in the paper? Has formal, appropriate language been used? Have words that seem familiar but mean different things been confused, such as affect and effect? As you follow the checklists, it can be helpful to try different versions of a sentence on a new sheet of paper, and then insert the version that works best into your paper. You have now finished the Prezi on the writing process. Happy proofreading!